Earlier this month, I hosted two senior Environmental Protection Agency officials in Iowa so that they could have a first-hand look at a biodiesel plant and a working family farm. The EPA has broad jurisdiction over both agriculture and biofuel production. Considering the stakes, I thought it was important to help put a face on American agriculture for those officials whose decisions carry so much weight. Just last week, I followed up on this trip with a letter to these officials hoping to keep the lines of communication open on issues affecting biofuels and all of agriculture. In the meantime, I joined colleagues in introducing two amendments to the Interior Appropriations Bill that would help push the EPA on ethanol regulation. The First Amendment would require the EPA to approve an increase in the ethanol blend level from 10% to 15%. I still believe the best way for this matter to be resolved is for the EPA to review the science and approve the higher blend. But the EPA has been dragging its feet on approving higher ethanol blends. Now, the Second Amendment helps thwart the use of international indirect land use changes in a rulemaking for the new renewable fuel standard. Indirect land use is very scientifically questionable, and it's a policy that assumes the United States biofuel industry is responsible for the tillage or development of land, can you believe it, in other countries. Consideration of international indirect land use is not in the renewable fuel standard legislation in the first place. So there's absolutely no reason the EPA should use it in its rulemaking decision. I happen to think that even domestic indirect land use isn't scientifically valid, but to penalize an American farmer for something going on in some other country, and particularly when it isn't even in the statute, is just plain nonsense. The amendment would have prohibited the EPA from using funds to calculate and include in the RFS 2 rulemaking indirect emissions from international land use changes. It doesn't appear that these amendments will be taken up by the Senate, but it's clear the EPA has taken notice that American agriculture won't stand idly by and watch them make rules and regulations that only serve to harm a staple of our economy.